Rome, 66 AD. In the heart of the empire, a young boy, born into slavery, was forcibly castrated, not for punishment, but for transformation. He was to become the bride of Emperor Nero.
They called me Sporus, not because I chose it. It was a name given, like everything else in my life. I was born in the shadows of marble palaces, not into wealth, not into freedom, but into servitude. No one remembers the day I arrived in the imperial household. No one remembers my mother's name, but I remember the chill of those stone floors and the silence. I learned quickly. Stay quiet, stay small, stay invisible. And for a while, that worked. I swept the halls, poured wine, listened more than I spoke. But Rome is a place where nothing stays hidden forever. And one day, I was seen by him, Nero. They said Nero loved his wife Poppaea. Beautiful, ambitious, sharp-tongued, she gave him a daughter. But something changed between them. One night, the palace buzzed with whispers. Poppaea was dead. Some said Nero had struck her in anger. Others said it was illness. Whatever the truth, I saw what grief did to him. He wandered the corridors like a ghost. He sang to no one. He wept where no one dared comfort him. Until he looked at me. I was young, soft-spoken, and, they said, I bore a resemblance to her. That was all it took. He didn't want me. He wanted what I reminded him of. Everything changed overnight. My tunic was replaced with silk. I was taken from the servant quarters and given a chamber of my own. Gilded, perfumed, and terrifying. They dressed me in gold, called me by her name in jest at first, then in ceremony. My voice changed, not from age, but from what they did to me. They wanted to erase what I was and mold me into what he had lost. I was no longer Sporus the servant. I became something else. He announced it with pride. The emperor would marry again. The guests were invited. The torches were lit, and I was led into the courtyard like a bride. Not by choice. He placed a ring on my finger, kissed me in front of the Roman elite, and they clapped. Some laughed behind their hands, others just looked away. None of them helped me. From that day on, I walked beside him, not as his equal, not even as myself, but as a reflection of someone who was gone. He dressed me in Poppaea's gowns, called me lady, took me to festivals, banquets, ceremonies. I smiled when I was told to smile. I bowed when I was told to bow. And I told myself, just survive. As the years passed, Nero changed. Or maybe he simply revealed who he had always been. He played the lyre as Rome burned. He performed on stage while generals plotted behind his back. The people grew tired. The Senate grew bold. The empire began to slip through his fingers. And I stayed at his side. I saw his fear. I saw his paranoia. And one day, I saw him fall. The Senate turned on him. His allies fled. And finally, he died, by his own hand. They say his last words were, "What an artist dies with me." I thought, maybe it was over. Maybe I would be forgotten, left to fade into history. But Rome wasn't done with me. The next emperor, Otho, took me in, not out of kindness, but as a symbol. He paraded me like a trophy, a way to mock Nero's legacy. Then came Vitellius. He had something else in mind. He planned to throw me into the arena, to be torn apart in a spectacle, for the crowd to laugh and cheer. And so, I made a choice, the only one I ever truly made. They would not laugh at me, not again. Not like that. I left quietly. No audience, no torches, no applause. Just silence. And peace. They write about emperors in stone, etch their names into coins, glorify them in books. But me, I was a whisper. I was a shadow, a reflection of someone else's memory. But now, you've heard my voice. Not Nero's, not the court's. Mine. I was Sporus. And I want you to remember, not the title they gave me, not the role they forced on me, but the truth. I lived, and I remember everything.
That's the end of this video. Would you like to see more of it? I hope so. Let me know in the comments.